Today we are starting day 2 of factoring polynomials, guessing on factoring by grouping, as well as the AC method. The first one we're going to look at is factoring by grouping. And the first step that we're actually going to do is to put the 4 terms into 2 groups with parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that. And you always want to do a front and a back. So we have our first 2 terms, 8x to the 5th minus 6x squared, and 12x to the 3rd minus 9. Our second step is on factoring out the GCF from each group, since we couldn't do it from all of the terms together. When I look at this first group of 8x to the 5th minus 6x squared, I see that we can factor out a 2x to the 2nd. And when I do that, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And x to the 5th divided by x to the 2nd is x to the 3rd. And when I factor out 2x to the 2nd out of 6x squared, I get minus 3. Then I look at the second part, and I see that 9 and 12x cubed have a 3 in common. And so when I do that, I'm left with 4x cubed minus 3. So our step 3 is saying that what's left should match, in our case that it does. And so then I'm going to scroll up a little bit so we can look at this step 4. Step 4 is going to be to put the 2 terms that are outside the parentheses into one binomial, and what's left should be in the other set of parentheses. So in our case here, if I factor out a GCF of sorts, that gives me that 4x cubed minus 3. And so I'll put that in one set of parentheses. 4x cubed minus 3. And then I see that I have a plus 3 and a 2x squared outside. So that is going to be my other binomial. And therefore my final answer is 4x cubed minus 3 times 2x squared plus 3. We have y cubed plus 4y squared minus 2y plus 8. So I'll group them. This time I'm going to group that negative with the 2y. I'm going to rewrite this just so you can see. I have y cubed minus 4y squared, and then I have basically plus a negative 2y plus 8. So then I look at my first one, I can factor out a y squared, which leaves me with y minus 4. Now the big key here is I want to factor out that negative, because I want to end up, as you can see, with a y minus 4, and the only way I can do that is if I factor out that negative 2. And that leaves me with y minus 4. So now I can take what's in parentheses, which is that y minus 4, and put that in one grouping. And then I take what's on the outside, which is y squared minus 2 or plus negative 2, and put that in the other one, y squared minus 2. And you can always FOIL it back out to check and see if you are correct.